That's why I think the only way the Kings can get better is via trade. So we're gonna end this show with some fake trades. I'm so excited to see what the chat says because I've been working on these a little bit. I'm gonna just call this segment "Tell Me Why You Hate It" because I already know that a lot of you guys are gonna hate a lot of these trades. Do me a huge favor, guys. Hit that thumbs up button. Share the show. Let's keep this thing growing. And yeah, so here we go. So the very first trade I have for you guys is one again. I don't think unless you follow me on Twitter, which you guys should do at VM Center, you guys have probably already seen this one, and it's gonna be for Richaun Holmes. So it's just a plain Richaun Holmes deal. It's that right there. So it's gonna be Richaun Holmes for Joe Harris. Now, would you have to give up a second round pick? Maybe. That's a possibility. That wouldn't surprise me if you had to do that as well. Give up any type of pick. Now, the question I get asked all the time is, why would the Nets do this trade? Well, the Nets are still looking for their big. Yes, they're going to match the deal for Nick Claxton. It's been reported already that they're going to match any deal for Nick Claxton, and I believe that's a smart thing. But Nick Claxton at his peak, what's he going to be? And they're hoping, I would feel, it's going to be a Richaun Holmes type of player, someone that can hit a mid-range shot, shoot 85% from the free throw line, walking double-double. He does struggle against, big body centers, but at the same time, that's not what the Heat or the Nets were worried about. The Nets were worried about grabbing rebounds, being able to play a big that can be not blown by in a pick and roll set. Richaun Holmes was one of the best coming out of the pick and roll. He has very quick feet. I think this makes sense for both teams. Joe Harris, a 6'6" shooting guard, a knockdown shooter. I even said it on Twitter when having the conversation. I think that Joe Harris would be the shooter that they hoped Buddy Hield could be. Just the professional, the shooter, everything that he was, that they hoped that Buddy could have turned out to be, is what Joe Harris would be right away for the Kings. And I don't think he gets enough credit for how good of a defensive player he was for the type of player that he is. So to make the money work, obviously you'd have to give up Harkless as well. I found that out as well. But you give up Harkless, give up a second, give up Richaun Holmes. I don't really mind that, not a little bit at all. I think that makes sense. Holmes is a great backup with a great contract. We don't know. We don't know he can't function off bench, so why trade him? We don't know he can't function. We don't know he can't function off bench, so why trade him? I mean, he's arguably one of the Kings' best trade assets. That's basically why, Hoops. That's basically why. He's on a team-friendly contract. A lot of teams have seen what he can be as a starter. I mean, he was top 5 in field goal percentage, top 5 in blocks as well. So I mean, he just feels such a big need, and he's on a team-friendly contract. Many teams can get him, and the Kings need more players. They need more role players than just a Richaun Holmes. And again, I think he would be a starter in Brooklyn. So there's that. So that's one trade. Let me hear your guys' thoughts on that one. Like I said, this segment isn't called Fake Trades. It's going to tell me why do you hate it. So you guys can go ahead and leave your comments in the comment section below there. This one, I don't remember what this one is. Let's see what this one is here. Let's go ahead and close this one out. Let's go to, no, not that one. That is the fake old one. That's not the one I want you guys to see. But since we already talked about Richaun Holmes, let's go ahead and go address the small forward position. Now, with the small forward position, the Kings need help there. I mean, Harrison Barnes is at the point now where he can defend threes, but he's not really a three. He's best utilized as a 4. I still think there's a way for him to be able to be a very helpful player on a lot of teams, especially on a team that's trying to redeem themselves. So as you guys saw, like the Toronto Raptors won a championship, lost Kawhi Leonard, but showed so much promise with Spicy P and things like that. I think that they still need that center as well. But they could also use a player that's been in the playoffs and can show that they can knock down 3-pointers in the playoffs and just get you points off the dribble as well. So here's the deal that I have in mind. The Kings give up Harrison Barnes, Richaun Holmes, and a 2024 lottery-protected first-round pick for OG Anunoby. It feels like the Kings are giving up a lot. But you got to think about it like this. OG Anunoby, 3 years under contract. I believe he's 24 years old. He fills a major need for the Kings, and it will solidify the role that Keegan Murray would be playing on this team. Toronto fans, I know you guys are hating me already. I have nothing but respect for you guys out there. You guys come at me all the time, and I love it. Continue to do so and keep the conversation going. But I think for both sides, like think about it like this: the Toronto Raptors in a year are going to have $18 million now in cap space for the 2023 free agency class. And 2023 free agency class is a game changer. Where this season, the only way you're making your team better is via trades. That's why I think you're seeing already plenty of trades leading into free agency, which begins tomorrow. Next year's free agency class, or next year during the offseason, I think you're going to see more free agency signings because of how much talent is going to be out on the market. There, they get to free up $18.3 million out of Harrison Barnes' contract. They get their starting center right away that I think plays right next to Spicy P. Obviously, can play next to Barnes. And again, you can have Scotty Barnes and everything like that there. I just feel like veteran help fills a need, and on top of that, you get a first-round pick. And if the Kings are better with OG Anunoby, you're for sure getting that pick from Sacramento. I couldn't figure out how to say it'll revert to a 2025 first if it doesn't go through. But obviously, I think that in this deal to make it happen because of the 3 years that are still left on Anunoby's contract, the Kings would have to give up a first-round pick in this deal. But I do like this trade for both sides of that here. Let's see what we got. Oh, someone's... don't know who that is. Let's go. Let's see what the chat's saying here. Wish we could keep them. It's not letting me scroll up. Let me try this again. Appreciate y'all joining me in the chat. Welcome to the conversation. Let's see. It says... he's just a solid, smart guy. I wish we could keep him. Yeah, Kings received forward OG Anunoby, guard Kendrick Nunn. Toronto's received Taylor Horton-Tucker, Richaun Holmes, a 2023 first-round pick from SAC, a 2027 first-round pick from the Lakers. And the Los Angeles Lakers receive Harrison Barnes. What do the Kings get? Oh, Kings get OG Anunoby and Kendrick Nunn. But they'd have to give up Holmes, next year's first-round pick. I don't know about that one. The only reason why is because I'm so high on the 2023 draft class. Like, not just the top 5 guys. The entire draft class. There's so much talent that's potentially going to be there that giving up that pick kind of makes me feel a little iffy. And with OG Anunoby, like, in this deal, you're giving up a lottery protect. I don't know how high OG's value really is. Like, from what I was able to and who I was able to speak to, that was a potential deal, was OG for the 4. And that wasn't enough. So, maybe 2024 pick. Yeah, I mean, give up the 2024 first-round pick, Richaun Holmes and Harrison Barnes, and in return you get OG and Kendrick Nunn. I mean, it's essentially the same exact deal that I said. So, yeah, I would do that in a heartbeat, for sure. For sure. Makes sense. It's the same deal I'm putting on the screen right now. I like it. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. I have a few more here for you guys. Let's see. Also, you guys can also join the conversation if you guys have trade ideas that you want to bring up for a quick 15 seconds or whatever. Just come and say, hey, what do you think about this? Get the conversation going. You guys are more than welcome to join on in. Let's go ahead and go to the next trade I have listed here. Now, this next trade, I think a lot of you guys are going to hate this trade. I'm just going to be honest. This is the tell me why you hate it deal that I think is definitely going to garner the most hate out of this segment. And just know I'm ready for all the smoke, guys. You guys can call me crazy. I really don't mind. Call over to Charlotte. Offer them Harrison Barnes, Mo Harkless, and Richaun Holmes, and a second-round pick in 2024. And in return, you get Gordon Hayward and Kelly Oubre. Why would the Kings do this deal? Well, look at this. The Kings automatically address their need. They get Harrison Barnes for an additional year. That's how I view this. So Harrison Barnes with 1 year left. Is he really going to re-sign with Sacramento? I doubt it. I think he would definitely want to go to a place where at least winning is going to be there, especially that he's coming to the peak of his career, about to be on the downside of his career. Same thing could be said for Gordon Hayward. Look, there's only 2 years left on his deal. This at least gives you the window to have that small forward that can still play small forward. So again, solidifying a role for Keegan Murray. I think he also brings a high basketball IQ, can take the ball out of Fox's hand when needed and run the guard spot. And on top of that, you get Kelly Oubre, who can be your bench scorer, can play a enhanced role that Jeremy Lamb probably is kind of holding on to right now if he comes back. I just feel like both those players fill an automatic need for the Kings. And then for the Hornets, I mean, like I said, you get Harrison Barnes, who gets to slide right in for Gordon Hayward, automatically plug and play for that role, as well as the Hornets get to get off of his money next year to continue to help LaMelo Ball with cap space, $18.3 million in cap space. They get the center that they were initially going after before making the Mason Plumlee deal. Obviously, Mason Plumlee hasn't turned out to be the player that they wanted him to be. That's why they had to go get Montrez, but there's a good chance Trez might be going to jail. So they now need a center that can run the floor with LaMelo. And look, when he's with a passing guard, Holmes, look how great he was. Look how phenomenal he looked with Tyrese Halliburton. I don't even know who's the better passer between Ball and Halliburton. Who's the more flashy passer? Obviously, it's LaMelo. Who's the more high IQ passer? I really don't know. They both make smart passes. You put that next to Holmes, he's going to already succeed. He's going to be better. Also, it's not just $18.3 million that the Hornets get off of. They get off 22.8, almost 23 because of Mo Harkless as well. And then on top of that, they also get a second-round pick. So I feel like while on the Kings side, it doesn't seem like they're getting a whole lot. But I think what this does is, A, it solidifies a role for Keegan to play that power forward spot, which I think is his role on the NBA level. You get Gordon Hayward, that veteran voice that Harrison Barnes was playing, but at the same time, Gordon Hayward can get you a bucket on all three levels. He can also be the passer that you need him to be, and I just think he's the more reliable scorer over Harrison Barnes. I think they're essentially on the same exact tier. I have Gordon Hayward as the 1A and Barnes as the 1B. And then that's why you're giving up the second round pick in this deal as well. And then you also get Kelly Oubre, who is your automatic scorer, your microwave off the bench. He plays a pivotal role for you. And on that 1 year deal, you can possibly trade him at the deadline if needed. So you don't really lose out too much there. Well, I think a lot of you are going to hate it. I think this is probably, of the three that I showed, this is arguably my most realistic deal that I think could happen. Let's see what the chat's saying here. Murray, I think, can be Michael Porter Jr. I just don't think he's that doesn't have that quickness to be able to play that small forward spot. Could he be a Michael Porter Jr.? Maybe. That'd be cool. I like Michael Porter Jr. A healthy Michael Porter Jr. That'd be great. That'd be great. That is all the trades I have, guys. Wow, I can't believe this has already been a 38-minute show. It feels like it was much sooner than that. A lot of stuff going on. We addressed Keegan Murray and his role in the Kings. My not disappointment in the pick. I want to make that clear. I like Keegan Murray. I think he fits this team 100%. I think that he filled a lot of needs for this team, being at the position that he plays, the shooting that he brings, the defense that he brings, the IQ that he brings. It's just the Kings don't know how to play poker. The Kings just continue to show that they didn't know how to leverage. They stuck to one player and one player only. That's the disappointing part. You look, we're trying to address these issues that they have now with no money in free agency and now having to give up probably more players than you want to. I mean, you have to give up a Holmes. You have to give up a Barnes. If you want to swing for a home run, a real home run, you may have to even give up Davion. I doubt that they do that, though. I think Davion showed too much potential at the end of last season that you give him up. Yeah, I don't know. Talk about that. Talk about some free agents. Again, I like Thomas Bryant. I think Daniel House is going to be a name you hear about a lot. I think Gary Harris is going to be a name that gets floated. TJ Warren obviously is going to be a name that Kings and Sacramento just for some reason just continue to be circling their eyes on. He continues to be tied. I think Derek Jones Jr. is going to be a name that's tied to the Kings. A lot of stretch wings. It's never a bad thing to have stretch wings. My only question with Derrick Jones Jr., if the Kings do like look in that direction, is like, what's the difference between Derrick Jones Jr. and Chimezie Metu? I don't think there's that much. I like Metu. I think Metu is showing improvement every time we've seen him. So I actually like Metu. That's the show today, guys. I appreciate all of you guys who joined me live here on YouTube. For those who are listening on iTunes, please do me a huge favor. Once again, leave a review down below on iTunes and leave us a rating so we can continue to grow up the charts. I will be having a guest on next week. Next week, I will be having a guest on. These shows are going to be probably on like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just depending on the day. Just so you guys know, for when does the show come out? It's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. It's in that time frame, so you guys can have the whole weekend to look at it and everything like that. Gives me time to cut it all up into certain clips and things like that. For those watching on YouTube, please do me a huge favor if you haven't done so already. Hit that subscribe button, as well as hit that thumbs up button. Or if you guys didn't like any of these takes, you guys didn't like the show, hit the thumbs down button. Get the algorithm turning and moving. I appreciate every single one of your guys' support. Shout out to Brickhouse for making this hat. Man, this hat looks just so fresh on camera, bro. The Sac Kings Nation hat's sold out. Might have some more coming soon. Shout out to our sponsors, ratecrushers.com. Whatever type of insurance you guys need, have motorcycle, car, mortgage, renters, boat, commercial, these guys have you covered. Make sure you're not overpaying for your coverage. Go to ratecrushers.com and let the brokers over there crush those rates for you. Shout out to everyone in the chat. You guys can follow me on all social media platforms of @VMCenter. And until next time, Sacramento Kings fans,